wasn't shock troopers, Dragon Continent, Base Camp Alpha, 501st Legion, Sanus Continent, Vale, 212th Attack Battalion, Sanus Continent, Mooten Glen, 332nd Reserve Company, Solitas Continent, Django City, 104th Wolfpack Battalion, Anima Continent, Cheyenne, Beacon Academy. With the Beacon Dance approaching, it was a good time for enemy forces to sneak in the CCT. John knew this because it is typical enemy strategy, so he went to discuss a plan of defense with Ashvin. Ashvin's office. Ashvin, you really think that someone will attempt to break in the CCT? John simply replayed the audio logs that his helmet feed recorded during mission time. Simple to say, Ashvin is shocked that Roman's cohorts have breached Beacon. I'll have Tech and Fixer upgrade your systems and security so we can counter whoever is targeting Vale. Before John could leave, Ashvin decided to let him join his secret circle. Ashvin, John, before you go, I need to tell you something important. John, what is it, Headmaster? Ashvin, what is your favorite fairy tale? Time skip. Location library. Team RWBY and PNR just hanging out. Ruby, haha, I got you now, Young. Oh yeah. I activate my trap card. Ruby, no. Vader would be proud. Static asterisk asterisk asterisk. John, Hunter, I need you Squad and Delta to stake out the CCT tonight. I have authorization codes from Ashvin for you so no one will ask question when you get there. Boss. Copy. Hunter, understood Commander, we're on it. John then walked in the library and just smiled, amused by his renewed friend's antics, except for why she's still the same, as well as Farah. Ruby, hey John. Everyone looked towards him as he removed his helmet and sat down with them. Young, can't believe everything that happened. John, what? Young, I got to talk to my blood mother and she told me why she abandoned us. At first I couldn't believe it, but she left. She might be a terrible mother and returned to her former life. And now she's being hunted by someone who wants to steal something from her. When his fake transcripts were exposed, everyone but a few turned against him, having had enough of the constant abuse and hate. John flung himself into Emerald Forest too. John, you mean me? Young, what no? Oh, and I'm sorry about your brothers. I heard from Ashvin what happened in Ico. John, stop, I don't blame you. Young, that's on her, not you. Young, still to lose your siblings like that doesn't sit well with me. I don't know what I'd do if Ruby were taken from me. John, believe me Young, you don't want to know what you'd do, trust me, I know. Ruby, yeah, how about the fact that Mom's a professor here now? John, well, that's certainly new. Young, don't forget, on top of our 2-week detentions, I'm grounded for 2 months and you got 3 weeks. Ruby grumbled, "Don't remind me." Jaune, "That's why you should keep out of official matters." Weiss, "Like you do." Blake, "Weiss Oshpin did say he works for him as security for Vale." Weiss, "Still, how can he learn so much in a few months?" Jaune, "Do you know how it feels like to fight for your life? When you know you're gonna die, but you refuse to die without a fight. You heard the news on Valeron City, right?" Weiss, "Yeah, feeling she's about to be proven wrong." Jaune, "That was my first near-death experience, and it wasn't the last. Another instance in my life, me and my brothers had to fight for an entire week." Weiss, "Okay, continue." Intrigued. Jaune, "Fighting day in day out, not knowing when your enemies attack. Can't afford to shower or take a leak without your weapon near you. Sleep deprived. We only slept for 2 hours a day. If we slept longer, the enemy might sneak up on us and kill us in our sleep." Weiss shivered. "Fighting like that for a week is a nightmare." Jaune, "One of my brothers, Captain Rex, lived by a code that applies in all aspect of life. In his words, in my book, experience outranks everything. I may not have finished my education here, but I lived for months in a constant battlefield, the same with my brothers." Weiss understood he was no longer weak, but she is still sour that he lied to enter the academy while she got her scar in order to earn her father's approval to enroll at Beacon. A voice came out of nowhere. "Son, hey sup losers." Blake rolled her eyes, knowing what type of guy Son is, and relieved she chose Jaune. From time to time they hung out in secret. Whenever Jaune was free, she invites him to read her books. Sometimes Jaune shared literature from different planets, poking fun by teaching her different languages. Jaune still loved comic books and often have arguments with Blake about what is literature and what's not, but ultimately caved, and when tried reading some she liked it. Some looks like the bad boy troublemaker that one day may get her into trouble that she has to pay for. Son approached Blake trying to act cool, but Blake happily crushed his hopes by saying, "Blake, sorry son, I'm already taken." Then another guy joins the group. "Neptune, aren't libraries for reading and not playing?" "Ren, thank you." Son, still sour, tried to cheer himself up. "Son, stop being a nerd." "Neptune, the term is intellectual." He said, acting suave, approached Weiss and said something that Jaune was actually beginning to be pissed about. "Neptune, hey there snow angel." Weiss suddenly blushed at the address and Jaune eyebrow visibly twitching. "Jaune, really? And when I said that all I get was called dolt and given the cold shoulder." But Jaune used calming techniques Django taught him and let it go. If you get that reference, good for you. It was uneventful until Jaune noticed Blake having a breakdown of sorts. Jaune, "Listen Blake, I know you were part of the White Fawn, but you are not responsible for the failures of others." Blake, But John, they're hurting people. They even hurt your brothers. That's why I understood why you and your men have to kill some of them on the docks. They've become something that brings shame to all Faunus. John, listen Blake, I know how you feel. I had a brother who committed his life to stopping a threat to all of us, but in the end he gave his life to keep us safe. And not a day goes by that the brothers he left behind still felt hurt at his death. Blake, I know you have to do something, but please don't do it at the expense if your health and force forbid your life. I've come to terms losing my brothers in war, but I don't know if my heart can take losing my love. John kisses Blake and stayed that way for a few minutes, then they ended the kiss. Blake holding John's hand, she looked at him in the eyes and asked, Blake, what was your brother's name? John knew she wanted to honor him and said, John. His name was Heavy. Blake offered a silent prayer thanking Heavy for saving John and his brothers. Blake, okay, I won't let my guilt consume me anymore. Have you asked Velvet to the dance yet? John, yeah, and I was just about to ask you too. Blake, I accept, she said lovingly. Team Torrance room. John was checking the battalion's status. Static. Thorn. Base Camp Alpha checking in, no issues here sir. Rex. Vale is safe and secure. Vaughn. Django City still holding strong. Wolf. Cheyenne Garrison status green. Cody. This is the 212th approaching staging area. John. Understood, hold positions and await further orders.